Nanny Doss was born in 1905, and she was one of 5 children born to Jim and Louisa Hazel. Now, there are some reports that Jim was not her biological father. Now, the story goes that Nanny was born in an abusive family, and Jim Hazel mistreated her. He kept her from school, and he made her do very demanding chores. Now, at age 7, Doss reports or claims that she suffered a head injury while riding on a train. So the train suddenly stopped, which caused Doss to hit her head on the metal seat in front of her. It gave her a concussion, and this, she claims, she claimed later in life was the reason she did some of the things she did later in life. Now, in 6th grade, Doss left school, but she still was subject to her abusive family on the farm in Alabama. She claimed that she wasn't even allowed to wear makeup or dressy clothes. Now, Doss's mom tried to be kind to her, and she introduced her to romance magazines, which became an escape for her. They became such an escape that she became somewhat addicted to the glamorous lifestyle that they portrayed. It was something that she really wanted to live and be part of. Now, as a young woman, Doss started working in a linen factory, and she met a young man named Chancy Braggs. Now, they started dating, and 5 months later, they got married. So after Nanny Doss married Chancy Braggs, they ended up moving in together with him and his mom. Now, this was a very abusive relationship. The mother-in-law was very oppressive, and Chancy Braggs was an alcoholic and a womanizer. Because of Chancy Braggs' behavior, Nancy started behaving in the same way and started drinking a lot and sleeping around also. So even though the relationship was abusive, they did have 4 children together. 2 of the children died, which is now suspected they died from poisoning, although nothing was suspected at the time. In 1928, Chancy Braggs and Nanny Doss got divorced. 2 years after the divorce, Doss married her second husband, Frank Harrelson. It was during this time that Doss murdered her newborn granddaughter and her 2-year-old grandson. The marriage between Harrelson and Doss lasted 16 years. So Harrelson was also an alcoholic and a drunk, and during a Christmas party in 1945, Harrelson assaulted Nanny Doss. And so she got her revenge on him by putting rat poison in his whiskey. Arlie J. Lanning was Doss's third husband, and she met him from a singles ad in the newspaper. Now, he was also a womanizer and an alcoholic, and he died mysteriously from a heart attack, which is now suspected it was caused from poisoning and was murder. Now, Doss met her fourth husband, Richard L. Morton, at a Lonely Hearts Club. Now, Horton wasn't alcoholic, but he did love the ladies. Doss decided to poison him after she discovered he was seeing an old girlfriend. Now, Doss's 5th husband, Samuel Doss, was actually a decent guy. He was a church-going and very frugal, but she found him very boring because he restricted her from reading romance novels and watching love shows on TV. These restrictions just proved to be too much for Nanny, so she mixed arsenic in his coffee and prune cake one night. Now, Doss was Nanny's 5th and final husband, but after she killed him, she was ready to move on to her next victim. She was dating a man who was a dairy farmer and was already baking him cakes. Now, the doctors found that Doss's death, her 5th husband's death, was very suspicious. They decided to do an autopsy. They found a lot of arsenic in his blood, which is how Nanny Doss got caught. Now, during the investigation, after she got arrested from the cops, she did confess to killing her other 4 husbands. In addition to killing her 4 husbands, she also confessed to killing her mother, her grandmother, her sister, her grandson, and one of her mother-in-laws. But she never admitted to killing the rest of the victims. In June 2nd, 1955, Doss pleaded guilty to the murders and was sentenced to life in prison. Now, death penalty was a possibility, but the judge didn't want to sentence her to death because he didn't want to set the precedent of sentencing someone who was insane to death. She was known for having a very cheerful disposition in prison and being a model inmate. It was almost like she enjoyed being there. She spent 8 years in the Oklahoma State Penitentiary. In 1963, she died of leukemia. And that is the story of the Giggling Granny serial killer. So as always, stay safe out there, make good choices, and have a good day. Hope to see you soon.